2-3 zone, it's not easy to prepare for, especially 3 games in a row on the island.
All right, let's check out the lineups now. First for Syracuse, you have Tyler Ennis, the freshman, Trevor Cooney, the sophomore, C.J. Fair, their leading scorer, Raheem Christmas, and Dajuan Coleman. Meanwhile, for the Golden Gophers and Richard Pitino, it'll be Andre Hollins, DeAndre Matthew, Austin Hollins, Otto Oceanix, and Elliot Eliason. So ready to roll, Andre Hollins, say their top player, career 40% from 3. Meanwhile, Syracuse, their leading scorer a year ago was this guy, C.J. Fair. He wasn't always necessarily, though, their top option.
No, he was not, but he is this year. And the target is a little bit bigger on C.J. Fair because of it. He's already the ACC preseason player of the year without ever playing a game in that league. That's the respect that he has in college basketball right now.
Christmas and Eliason jump it up. Syracuse wins the tip, and the Orange control.
Minnesota will play a ton of 2-3 zone. Similar principles that Syracuse will throw at you on their end, just not near as big.
Cooney feeding near to Coleman. Cooney can really shoot it, and he buries that one. Trevor Cooney, the sophomore, with 7 threes in a game earlier this year against Cornell.
An important start. Trevor Cooney's only made 3 out of his last 14 from 3 coming into this tournament.
We're going to see a decent amount of zone here today on this end. Obviously, that's what Syracuse does. Minnesota will be playing it, as Jimmy mentioned. There's a takeaway. And into the scorers table is Matthew. Coleman tips into Fair, miss. If DeAndre Matthew is bleeding, I mean, he went slamming into the wall over here in front of us. Pressure again. Cooney down. Gives off to Ennis, and Ennis will shoot 2. So Syracuse immediately going defense and turning it into offense.
I think there's something wrong with DeAndre Matthews' left hand. He keeps looking down at it. He carried it the entire possession after taking this blow right here, but he went hard now into some plywood right in front of us. Continues to talk to Richard Pitino about his taking hold on that left hand. Well, I don't know if he's cut, finger jam, but not the start that Richard Pitino wants.
And right now, I think they're waiting, I think because he is cut. So DeAndre Matthew, the junior college All-American, yeah, he got bumped and then he lost his footing. And then
he sticks that left arm underneath the table, and who knows what it came across. Tough little cookie, though. Perfect style of play for what Richard Pitino wants out of his point guard.
Syracuse up early 7-0. Andre Hollins and Austin Hollins. As Matthew flips it up. Does it again off the window. Fight for the loose ball. Coleman the board. Cooney wide open. And it ends up with Oceanix.
Syracuse very good, though, off of the miss to get their defense set.
You said last year the defense, the 2-3, was as good as any he's had.
I think during the 4-game stretch that got them to the Final Four is the best they ever played the zone.
Oh, look at that. Austin Hollins following Oceanix miss with the slam.
Now the press for the first time. Minnesota gets to throw it on.
Fair inside the paint, banks it home.
He missed it so bad, he banked it home. And you see what Syracuse is going to do against the press initially. Get the ball in the hands of their playmaker, C.J. Fair, in the middle of the floor. Look how high that zone is already lifted in this game. For the most part, Syracuse's 2-3 zone, it shapes up into a 4-1 zone. They bring their forwards so high out on the floor, it becomes a 4-1.
And a foul on C.J. Fair, his first.
And John, against a zone that wants to lift it this high, you have to do work behind the zone, whether it's on the offensive glass or flashing in as a cutter, trying to expose your numbers to the passer, and that's what Austin Hollins was able to do. He's their best slasher. He's their best guy going to the basket with and without the basketball.
Interesting. Andre Hollins and Austin Hollins not related, both from Tennessee, coincidentally. And a travel. That's a turnover. And that one on Malik Smith. Smith, who played for Richard Pitino at FIU.
He comes in to get up shots, but he's only 6'2". I remember what Jordan Hulls told me last year at the three-point slam dunk show after getting knocked out by Syracuse in the NCAAs. He said, for 2 hours, I never saw the rim. That's the length that you're dealing with when you play against Syracuse.
It's a great way to describe it. Nice look. Ennis inside. Christmas, a kick out to Fair. Coleman gets it rejected after the offensive rebound. Good ball movement by Syracuse.
Very good ball movement. Not a great pass, though, to Fair in the corner. He had to go down at knee level to get it and probably threw his shot routine off just a little bit. If that pass is delivered on the numbers, Fair knocks it down.
Here's Joey King checking game. Now, King missed their last game with a fractured jaw. He had minor surgery. And they were pretty certain he'd be able to play, and here he is. So that's good news for Richard Pitino. Fair off balance. And it ends up in the hands of Andre Hollins. Hollins loses the handle briefly. And with the scramble, it ends up with a freshman Ennis. Cooney catch and shoot. The Orange by 10.
How good was Trevor Cooney to be running full speed and then get his speed under control before he gets into his shot?
Smith from way downtown hits. Transfer from FIU. And he's familiar with the style that Richard Pitino wants to play. Christmas off the lob.
Boy, a terrific pass and great timing between Christmas and the passer.
Hollins being harassed at the moment by Ennis. Now they kick back out. Dre Hollins hits from the corner. Career 40% from three, and he buries that one. Cooney stepping in. Cooney can't finish. These wouldn't watch. Top 50 candidates. Andre Hollins, a candidate for the Golden Gophers at a little over 32 minutes a game. Both these guys play a ton. So they're both scorers, and both will be on the floor a whole lot this year.
That is going to be a very entertaining race for the Wooden Player of the Year this year when you consider the terrific freshman class with Wiggins and Randall and Gordon and Parker. Marcus Smart has obviously jumped right up there in the conversation as well. He should. Doug McDermott, Russ Smith, Shabazz Napier. There's 12, 15 guys right now that you have to say keep a very close eye on. Certainly C.J. Fair is in that group.
Hollins hits another three, his second of the game. Ennis pulls up and can't hit. He has struggled shooting under 30% so far this year.
Syracuse has the lead. Minnesota has the pace where they wanted in this game. Right now for Richard Pitino, that's more important than the fact that they're down 3.
King with a nice look finds Eliason.
Now, Andre Hollins, to me, is their most difficult guy to guard, talking about Minnesota. His ability to step into shots. He's got strong legs. At 6'2", he really gets the most out of his lift into his shot. Primary lead point guard last year, now working off the ball. And they are in terrific shape, talking about both Hollins kids and DeAndre Matthews for this system.
Michael Benajay will check in along with Bimus Akita. There's Akita right there.
The Syracuse zone just got bigger with Benajay coming in for Ennis, and now the best defender Jim Boeheim has inside the zone, Bimus Akita on the floor.
Again, with Michael Carter-Williams gone, he was the guy atop that zone that made it so difficult. What a start his NBA career is off to. Grant spinning. Shot was blocked, and speeding out of there is Matthew. Up ahead, King, and he flushes it.
Now Richard Pitino not only has the pace going in his favor, he has the score in his favor.
The Golden Gophers with the lead. And inside, they get a foul. I believe that'll be on Malik Smith.
Well, the Gophers are in attack mode. And Elliot Eliason is a key guy in this ball game because he can hold up against the size inside in terms of protecting the rim. He triggered the run game for Minnesota on that possession.
13-4 run. Fair lost his footing and he traveled.
Slow down, Syracuse. New shot clock. C.J. Fair gets it on the first catch, the first side of the floor, and tries to attack. Playing way too fast.
That's sort of what the style forces, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It gets you out of sorts at times.
Well, and if you accept it and play faster than you're supposed to be playing, you compound the problem.
Fair tries to save it. Smith. That one missed everything.
You're not going to beat Syracuse taking 26-foot jump shots with a lot of clock remaining in the shot clock. You got to get that zone out of alignment. I think you have to attack it off the bounce, attack gaps first.
Malik Smith, who shot that, he's averaged 14 points a game at FIU last year for Richard Pitino. So he certainly can help offensively. He's not shy about shooting it. This is Benajay. Ennis right at the rim, and it rolled out. Matthew. And he is quick. Lost the handle briefly. And on the baseline, in and out for King. Eventually lost the third round of the NCAA tournament. They moved out Tubby Smith and brought in Richard Pitino as their new coach. And here he is, 31 years old. First year as Minnesota head coach, second year as a head coach.
And if you move out Tubby Smith, you better replace him with someone really good. And that's what Minnesota was able to do with Richard Pitino. Only 31 years old, but he brings a 2-3 zone and a full court press at every opportunity style that is not currently in the Big Ten.
Such a good start. Ended up losing 12 of their final 18.
Minnesota's in man-to-man. It took Syracuse about 10 seconds to realize it.
Grant going at the rim. Had it swatted away. Matthew pushing the pace. Hollins a pull-up.
John, and it's again, the play started with Elliott Eliason defending the rim. He's only credited with 1 block so far, maybe 2 or 3 rebounds, but he has triggered Minnesota's run game with his inside presence.
Andre Hollins with 8. Ennis. Benajay into the paint. Right at Eliason. Fair now. Six on the shot clock. Take away Matthew.
You cannot have a better first 10 minutes from your primary inside defender than what Elliott Eliason has done. He has held his ground. He has owned his spot. He's gone straight up and down. And as a result, Minnesota has their run game clicking in this ball game.
So Eliason will grab a seat here for the first time.
Now the game could change. Minnesota doesn't have their size on the floor. Mo Walker will be eligible tomorrow, serving a university suspension the first 6 games, but he will not play today. He will play tomorrow in this tournament. Minnesota just got real small.
Out of bounds off of Oceanics as the pass misfired from King. Ennis kicks it up ahead. Cooney wide open. Austin Hollins the board. And the Gophers back the other way. It's got kind of a frenetic feel to it. And a travel. Our 30th year, the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Cal has already won. Later on, 9:30 ESPNU, number 18 Baylor and Chaminade, and then number 11 Gonzaga taking on Dayton, midnight Eastern, ESPN 2. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis will have to call those games.
Good opening round win for California. Balanced scoring. Richard Solomon was terrific in the second half with foul trouble. 5 guys in double figures. That's a good California team.
Coleman rebounds. The Ennis miss and fires it home.
I'm telling you, with Elliott Eliason on the bench, Minnesota has their hands full. They do not have the size inside to hold up.
Ennis.
Well, even in transition, Minnesota is still going to come from behind defense and try to speed you up. I'm not sure Ennis has adjusted so far to the pace in this game. The true freshman, Tim Boeheim's won a national championship with a true freshman point guard with McNamara. Not afraid to play him.
Matthew knocks down that shot, his first 3. Andre Matthew averaged just under 6 assists a game and just about 10 points a game. Coleman had it stripped away by DeAndre Matthew, but they get the foul on it. It's his second.
Coleman's moving really well this year. You watch him on video, watch him on film. He's lost some weight. That is a very good slip of the screen that time and get right to the front of the rim. C.J. Fair is a good passer, not a great passer. And Dajuan Coleman has a chance to put points on the board. Watch Dajuan Coleman. He moves into the screen and then slips out of it and immediately gets his eyes on C.J. Fair. That's the old school pick and roll instead of pick and sprint. That pick and roll, he immediately got his eyes on Fair, showed him his numbers. Very well done.
Coleman coming off of 14 points, a career high against St. Francis. Did that in 18 minutes. He's got 5 in this one. Ennis charged with the foul. Freshman Tyler Ennis. Jim Boeheim wondering how would he handle the pressure in this game. Picks up his second foul. 14 fouls on Syracuse.
Again, look how high the zone is right now. All 5 guys are from the free throw line extended and above.
Turnovers now. Minnesota on the baseline there. Grant can't hit. Fair offensive rebound. Cooney.
He's not going to miss many unguarded shots, John. He shoots it way too well. Struggled last year because he wouldn't get into a routine playing behind Trish and Michael Carter-Williams. But he is their designated gunner.
He's hit 3 of them, and he's had 5 very good looks. Austin Hollins now. He buries a 3. And Minnesota back on top. 5 points for Lionel's son. Ennis inside.
To their style. So it's very hard. We've just got to tell them, listen, there's going to be an adjustment period during the game. You can't get tentative. You got to try to attack it. But it's a difficult test.
And every team goes through that adjustment period. What do? You get behind the zone, either on the offensive glass or as a flasher. You do have to make some shots over the top of it, even guarded shots. And that certainly you get the ball off the defensive board and you run it and you score when you have the opportunity. That's what Minnesota wants to do. They've been efficient in their run game so far, all triggered by the play of Elliot Eliason protecting the rim. Like Richard Pitino said, though, John, that Syracuse zone is faster, quicker, longer, and smarter than what you can simulate in practice.
Yeah, he kept reminding them in practice in certain spots, okay, I know you think there's going to be space here. There won't be. You don't really have a gap here because there's so much longer in this spot.
Absolutely. And that Syracuse will adjust their zone as the game goes on. They will give open shots to guys they think are non-shooters until you prove differently. The problem with Syracuse in this game, they've only turned it over 3 times. The game is extremely fast, and you would think that's because Minnesota's turning Syracuse over. Not the case. Syracuse has 3 turnovers, but they are playing way too fast on the offensive end. They're 8 for 24 as Syracuse. Poor shot selection. Syracuse scoring off the turnovers of Minnesota, surprisingly.
Yeah, 14-0 points off turnovers, the difference. Golden Gophers set up the pressure. Now 10 turnovers for Minnesota. Grant lost the handle to stay with Syracuse.
And that's just as a hard spot to get it in as where C.J. Fair was in the same corner, just the opposite side of
him. His eye.
You know what I love about C.J. Fair? He just walked away from the play, stayed in the moment.
And he threw it down with authority while absorbing that contact. So he'll have to sit as the cut gets cleaned up. And a 3 there by Malik Smith.
Syracuse is going to have to adjust their zone because Minnesota throwing the ball to the elbows and using Elliot Eliason as a very good passer.
Five turnovers for Syracuse. Orange leading it by 3. John Shambi and Jimmy Dykes. 4 minutes to go here, first half. Cal, a winner over Arkansas in our opener. Still to come, Baylor and Chaminade, Dayton and Gonzaga. The EA Sports Maui Invitational, our 30th year open. Oh, goodness. Oceanics. Easy look.
Elliot Eliason is a point guard right now at 6'11" inside the zone.
Jim Boeheim has had Tyler Ennis sitting for a while. Cooney off the bounce, and Eliason pulls down the board.
You made Cooney shoot the ball off the bounce. You did your job defensively.
Collins, a little bit of a circus shot. And it'll be Syracuse basketball.
C.J. Fair got hammered.
He hammered the ball through the number 8 Syracuse, leading by a point back here at the Lahaina Civic Center. And C.J. Fair getting cleaned up because not just the dunk but check this out.
Well, unintentional by Austin Hollins, but still, it is a foul that was missed by 3 really good officials. C.J. Fair is a one-bounce stud. Maybe as good as we have in the college game in terms of what he can do off of one bounce around the rim.
He just went to the locker room, by the way. They continue to work on that gash. Cooney. And Eliason cleans up the boards. Ray Hollins had a great look at it.
The danger of Minnesota extending their press is losing Trevor Cooney on the back end of the press. They're going to have to tighten that gap on Cooney as well as he's seeing the rim so far in this gym.
I believe the foul is on by Musakita. It is. And here comes C.J. Fair back.
And how will he come back? He handled the initial blow with a lot of maturity. Just walked away from it, walked to the bench, got strapped up. Now does he play a little tentative, or does he have even more of an edge to his game?
That is going to leave a mark, literally. Cut on his right cheek, supplied by Austin Hollins. Each side with 16 fouls. Benajay trying to step in. Under 10 on the shot clock. And they get Jeremy Grant for bumping Austin Hollins. Well, the 2013 NIT season tip-off. We got semifinal action on Wednesday, 7 Eastern ESPNU, Drexel, number 4, Arizona. 9:30 Eastern ESPN2, Alabama, and number 6, Duke. We got a championship Friday at 6.
That was a good job by Austin Hollins with a late clock, because Jeremy Grant came out. They will really lift those forwards high, and Austin Hollins read it and just went right at the hip and got lower than Jeremy Grant. In a short clock, the way the game's called, I think you're going to see a lot of that in college basketball this year.
Joey King will check back in. Oceanics will sit. Benajay has helped handle this pressure pretty well for Syracuse with Ennis sitting. Under 2 to go here, first half. Syracuse down a point. Fair steps back. Christmas the board. Michael Benajay, the Duke transfer. Elbow pull up, soft touch.
He read the second defender really well. Elliot Eliason was a little bit buried in the lane, kind of waiting for Benajay to attack him. Benajay read where the second defender was and determined this is what I need to do with the ball. 15-foot open jump shot.
Turnovers now on Minnesota. Richard Pitino, his first year as head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Last year as the head coach at FIU, led them to 18 wins, their first winning season since the 99-2000 campaign. Throw down there by Christmas.
John, I talked about it a couple of minutes ago. You have to take the ball to the rim and get it up on the rim if Minnesota is going to continue to extend their defense, and that's what they're going to do.
So Syracuse up by 3 under a minute to go. And Fair jumps in.
It all started with Trevor Cooney's ability to advance the ball, and then C.J. Fair is silky smooth, and he avoids contact. Just his ability to get the ball up on the rim when the defense rotates over allows the cleanup by Christmas.
That last foul on Fair, his second. Raheem Christmas, a guy doesn't shoot all that often. And when he does, it's usually for this team.
They have a lot of Rick Pitino in their system. He has a ton of Billy Donovan in his system. In their half-court offense, their sprint-out ball screen action, they change the angle late with their sprint-out ball screen action, just like Florida does. They press a lot of versions of what Billy Donovan does. Richard Pitino, think about it. He's 900 and something wins behind Jim Boeheim on the other end of the gym. And he is very confident in what he wants to do in this ball game. I thought Minnesota would change. They were in man going into the timeout. They go zone coming out of it, and it catches Syracuse not ready for it. That's Richard Pitino being beyond his years as a 31-year-old head coach. They went into the timeout man-to-man. They come out of the timeout zone, and now the chess match continues again. By surprise on the Syracuse bench. Jim Boeheim told me yesterday, we have our hands full with this Minnesota team and the pressure they're going to throw at us.
We saw in our first game, Cal, Kravish, and Solomon. The size had a lot to do with the success of Montgomery's team ended up having in that game. Grant at the rim, blocked by Eliason. And then they get a foul on Christmas.
John, that's a really bad foul because Minnesota's in the bonus. You have a 3-point lead and the ball's at 85 feet away. And there's a reach-in foul. And you allow Minnesota to walk up and take an unguarded shot now towards the end of the half. Richard Pitino just won the timeouts. He went man to zone, back to man, and Syracuse couldn't get a basket.
Malik Smith, who played for Richard Pitino at FIU last year, and he gets them both one-point game. Benajay to the rim. Benajay will shoot 2 with 2.1 left in the half. And a foul on Eliason. His second.
That could be a huge, huge foul in this ball game. Only Eliason had established position, but again, with the new rules, was the ball on its way up? He gets called for the foul.
There are those soft rims you were talking about.
Incredibly soft. Richard Pitino is not happy with that last call. That's the part of the game that I'm not sold on. defense is 50% of this ball game. It has been since the original rules.
Syracuse by 3. That one out of bounds. Syracuse will have the ball with .3 left. 12 turnovers for Richard Pitino's team in this first half.
John, this has to be a throw towards the rim because they only have time for a tip. And with Elliott Eliason out, there's a chance this thing could go down. Throw it towards the rim and use your size.
Batted away by King. 10 lead changes to
exactly like they've been coached the last 4 or 5 weeks. And although they have not forced a lot of turnovers, Syracuse has taken pretty good care of the ball. Tyler Ennis, the freshman point guard, does not have a turnover yet in this ball game. But the speed, the pace, the flow is exactly how Minnesota wants this game to be.
Syracuse ball to start the second half. And Ennis back in there. Cooney, another good look at it. Buries it. Cooney with 15 points on 5 threes. Once in a while you'll hear the phrase, this guy's a good shooter, he just hasn't been making them in games. That's sort of been the story for Cooney in his brief college career, but they know he can shoot it. We're seeing it today. Matthews steps in, wrestle for the loose ball. Ennis comes up with it, still fighting for it. Minnesota basketball as Ennis was on the sideline.
Trevor Cooney to start the second half. They run some action for him. Watch Cooney. Goes down inside and going to pop out of what looked to appear to be an elevator screen to start with. And it's just cross action by the bigs. Frees Cooney up top. A well-designed play. Gave you a couple of different looks. You thought they were going to close the door and let Cooney run between it. They X out of it instead.
Eliason now the elbow as they kick it out. Look at the little guy, 5'9", DeAndre Matthews. Spent his freshman year at Morehead State, the junior college All-American.
John, it all started again with Elliott Eliason making the pass to the guy that made the pass, and now he...
Whoa, Lamar Simpson came out of there. Man, it looked like he was about to say traveling, and instead... he charges Elliott Eliason with his 3rd foul.
I cannot put into words the importance of Elliott Eliason picking up his 2nd foul with 2 seconds to go in the half, and that is a foul. Elliott Eliason was still moving to his right. But that's the importance of the 2nd foul with 2 seconds to go in the first half. Now he has to sit to start the second half.
Fair on the baseline, rattles it home.
He is a rare guy in the fact that he can make elbow jump shots and he can also make baseline jump shots. Not very many can do both as efficiently as he can.
He's got 6 points, including that rim-rocking dunk at the end of the first half, where he ended up getting cut across his right cheek. And this tracks down the miss. Orange with the ball up 6. Fair weaving, and he'll shoot 2. C.J. Fair, the senior from Baltimore.
You see that gash below the right eye. He got walloped in the first half. Has handled it well. ACC preseason player of the year, and he is hard to guard. He's a classic guy that does a lot of good stuff, and what makes this guy hard to guard is some different things, but he's automatic from 16 feet with that jump shot. He is a one-bounce star, and the fact that he's left-handed. You think that's something that's simple to adjust to, and it's not, because he's doing everything opposite. The opposite shoulder, the opposite drive, but those are 3 key areas for C.J. Fair.
Syracuse has really struggled from the line this year. 62% coming in. They're 11 out of 12 here today. Matthew inside, rejected by Christmas.
Matthew has to penetrate the zone to pass, not penetrate to finish. He's 5'9", and he must remember that he's 5'9".
Syracuse led by as many as 10 in the first half. The lead is 8 right now.
And yet it's interesting talking to Syracuse coaches about C.J. Fair. They say he's the kind of kid that he won't start the fight, but he won't walk away from the fight either. And we've seen that right now in this game. He didn't start the blow, but when the blow was delivered, he has responded really, really well.
Had 4 first-half points. He's got 6 in under 3 minutes here to start the second half. And again, on that play where he got hit, no foul was called. He sustained a gash on that right cheek. Matthew gets a piece of the paint. Now Hollins. And Hollins tracks down the rebound.
Syracuse quickly went on a 6-0 run when Elliot Eliason went to the bench with foul trouble.
Coleman rejects King. Flip up ahead for Cooney. Good look to Dajuan Coleman, and he's fouled. The freshman with good vision there.
Richard Pitino wants so badly to put Elliot Eliason back in the ballgame because he knows he can't hold up. They can't score inside, and they can't defend the front of the rim without big number 55 on the floor.
Dajuan Coleman last year dealt with a knee injury, ended up having meniscus surgery, and that limited him. Obviously being healthy and dropping the weight puts him in a better position for this season.
Another guy that's going to get fouled a lot. He's got to become a better free throw shooter. 47% on the year. He starts the ball on the left side of his body and then shoots it on the right side. Wow!
Rakeem Christmas with the throwdown. And the biggest lead of the game for Syracuse at 12.
The lead continues to grow because of Eliason's foul trouble.
And Malik Smith turns it over.
The plays that would not be made.
ESPN still to come, 9:30 Eastern, Baylor and Chaminade. And number 11 Gonzaga taking on Dayton, ESPN2 at midnight. Elliot Eliason back in the game. He's been out the last 2:36. And Syracuse is on an 8-0 run.
And Richard Pitino knows it's a have-to substitution to get Elliot Eliason back on the floor. They have no shot if he can't play the rest of this game.
A little bit of a danger zone right now. We're talking about a deficit of 12 for Minnesota. Fair flips it up and in.
He's gotten so much better in his career, making the right play after the 3rd, 4th, or 5th bounce of the basketball. He's been a one-bounce star his entire career. Now he's better making plays in multiple bounces.
4 points first half, 8 since the break. 12 for C.J. Fair. King reverses.
As soon as you put Eliason back on the floor, good things happen. Throwing the ball, they have to respect it, and now he becomes a passer.
Fair again. And this time Coleman, he can't tip it home. Matthew finds Hollins to the rim for 2.
Remember in the first game, Richard Solomon, how good he had to play with foul trouble in the second half for Cal. Now it's on Elliot Eliason to do the same thing.
Yep. The Syracuse lead at 10 here at the Lahaina Civic Center. Number 8 team in the country, the Syracuse Arms. Dajuan Coleman flips that up and in. Nice move by the big guy. With 9 points.
When he duck moves and his lower body wins the space, now his upper body automatically wins that same space. It's all about who wins from the waist down on the post.
Ennis with those good hands. Matthew, almost a chance at a three-point play. He'll shoot 2.
First play that Elliott Lyson is back on the floor on the offensive end. He's going to catch the ball around that elbow area. As soon as he catches it, boom, he's almost facing up before the ball ever gets to his hands. A lot of big guys will catch it and never face up. He was facing up before the ball ever touched his fingers. Thinks the game ahead like a point guard inside that zone.
That last foul on Dajuan Coleman, his first. DeAndre Matthew, little guard out of Tennessee. And gets it to go. Austin Hollins will check back in. Matthew will sit. DeAndre Matthew with 7 points as he goes to the bench. Do you feel like the pressure has bothered Syracuse much?
Not since they've calmed down their half-court offense. They were playing too fast. Maybe a 6 or 7 minute stretch in the first 20 minutes. Not so much now.
They fed the post in Coleman a lot. And that foul is on Joey King. His third. So now King and Eliason each have 3. And team foul number 4 on Minnesota. Here comes Otto Oceanix.
And why do you foul a non-scoring threat, Rakeem Christmas, away from the ball? While Richard Pitino was pointing to his head. Think.
But they got Christmas fouling Eliason in that spot. They did. 54-44 our score. 13:55 to go. Second half. Cal beat Arkansas in the first game. First of 12 games will bring you from the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Our ESPN family of networks. John Shambi, Jimmy Dykes with us. Still to come, Baylor, Chaminade, and Dayton and Gonzaga. Eliason kicked it to Hollins very quickly. Flipped it up. Eliason to tip. Wouldn't go. Rebound. Fight for that. And with a possession arrow, it will belong to Minnesota.
He's aggravating to play against as much as anything. Talking about Elliott Eliason. He's effective. Andre Hollins with really good leg strength. Able to go through contact.
Eliason already this year with a couple of double-doubles. He'd never had one in his first 2 seasons. He's got 8 in this game, 8 rebounds. There's the big fellow with the ball. Goes at the rim, scoops it up and in. 6 points for him.
Here comes the trap. You got a speed dribble going by Cooney. Very good recovery by Minnesota. To trap it and then recovery speed out of it to get Syracuse back under control. Not easy to do.
Ennis at the elbow. He is struggling with his shot right now.
And 4 guys are above the free throw line extended in that Syracuse zone right now. It's a 4-1 zone with Keita being the one on the interior. You have to flatten it out by getting the ball inside of it.
Smith from deep, and he got it. Wow.
Or just jump up and knock one down from 28.
Either way, 11 for Malik Smith, the FIU transfer. Jeremy Grant, soft teardrop shot.
The things he can do for a kid 6'9", 6'10".
Great athlete, Jeremy Grant. Trying to take that next step as a sophomore. Smith again. Wow.
He likes the EA Sports logo right in front of Minnesota's bench, because that's the launch point.
Hollins tips it away. Back up to Smith now. 8 turnovers for Syracuse.
I know this. If Malik Smith can get his shot off, he's going to get it off. You can't be too close to number 30 in that maroon uniform right now.
Hollins needs some help. Passes to On. Points on the 9 boards. And then Puerto Rico tip-off. I think most people thought Michigan would come away with that title. Instead, it was Charlotte winning on the tip-in by Terrence Williams by a deuce.
Perception versus reality this time of the season is always huge with me. Forget about the ranking and the number beside you. Do you show up tough, prepared, ready to play? Are you absorbed in winning, or are you absorbed in yourself? All those things that coaches are trying to get through to their guys, is sometimes the only way to get through it is to almost get your tails beat or get your tails beat. Ask Notre Dame, New Mexico, VCU, Michigan losing to Charlotte. Tough lessons to learn.
See how long Richard Pitino keeps Eliason on the bench. King in the paint, rejected there. Again, Elliot Eliason on the bench with 4 fouls. Syracuse with the ball up 6. Right now they have Benajay and Ennis out there. We didn't see that combo much in the first half. When Ennis picked up 2 fouls, Benajay came in for a nice feed as Grant throws it down and gets the feed from the freshman.
A really slick pass by Ennis. And C.J. Fair, perfect timing on his rim cut, expecting the pass to be delivered.
Oceanix gets it to go from the foul line. Otto Oceanix with 4 points in this one. Again, Minnesota with that pressure.
Again, Maurice Walker not eligible for Minnesota today. A 6'10", 270-pound guy that they could have in the middle for Minnesota. He'll be back tomorrow.
Benajay wanders in. Fair kicks it back out. Shot clock at 6. Ennis. Feed inside. Key to in close is foul. There's Mo Walker. Sitting out 1 more this game. The 6-game suspension that was imposed for a violation of school policy, and if he were obviously able to play this one, it would help offset the foul trouble on Eliason. Speaking of foul trouble, Joey King now with 4. So they're in a little bit of a jackpot in terms of the size and foul trouble dilemma.
Yep, they are in a jam. Mo Walker's all of 6'10" and 290. He was about 350 pounds last year, but he's a big kid with some offense. And Richard Pitino has to play small ball. As long as he can keep it a 6, 7, 8-point game with Elliot Eliason on the bench, he'll probably try to get to about the 6-minute mark, I would think.
Good hands by Grant, knocking it out of bounds.
And the designated shooter is checking in. He will immediately stress that Syracuse zone.
Again, Richard Pitino knows Malik Smith well, coached him at FIU last year. Smith kicks out Andre Hollins now. Comes to the jump stop, and they get him for the travel. 14 turnovers on the Golden Gophers.
Benajay and Ennis, two kids that didn't play for Syracuse last year, very good up top in that zone on that possession, fighting over the top of the ball screen. Long, active arms and a slick pick.
Smith puts it in. Wow! Hanging in the air, 6'2", going up against 6'7".
He is Richard Pitino's version of Russ Smith. Malik Smith. How many times have we seen Russ Smith do that for Louisville? Pick your pocket and score a hard basket.
16 points for Malik Smith. He has been instant offense off the bench for the Golden Gophers as they trail by 5. Fair had it stripped away off his leg. Minnesota ball.
I'm telling you, Syracuse should be putting Minnesota away right now with Elodie Eliason on the bench. Not only are they not putting them away, Minnesota is cutting into this lead. Crucial 3 minutes right now for Richard Pitino with his Hoss on the bench.
5-point game here at the line of Civic Center. The EA Sports Maui Invitational. Richard Pitino and Jim Boeheim matching wits in this one. CJ Fair getting it over the midcourt stripe. Gives it off to the freshman. Feel that big time pressure from Minnesota. Grant couldn't get it to go, and he's over the back.
Not good offense by Syracuse. Once they kind of got away from the pressure, the ball stayed stuck on the first side of the floor, and Jeremy Grant just drove it with nowhere to go, and then comes over the back.
His 3rd foul.
Malik Smith, I'm telling you, if he gets a crack, this thing's going up.
Ennis knows it closing on him. Oceanix finding King inside. Had it rejected. And King got hit on the side of the head. Remember, dealing with that jaw. Had the fractured jaw. Underwent minor surgery on that jaw. And again, Minnesota described it as minor surgery. I'm not going to sit here and say any jaw surgery is minor, as Ennis hits that nice floater.
Ennis is going to have a lot of opportunities this year with C.J. Fair on one wing, Cooney on the other. Only his first made field goal in this ballgame. He has to be a guy that can make some shots.
Hollins couldn't hit. Foul inside on Syracuse. That is on C.J. Fair with the shove, his 3rd. Only Syracuse 4th team foul. 16 fouls on Minnesota. Smith hesitating, kicks it out, and King got it. And it's a 4-point game. Billy King, the Drake transfer. Fair trying to answer.
I'm telling you, he is automatic from 15 feet.
10 of his 14 in the second half for C.J. Fair.
That Syracuse zone up top just not as long as it was last year. They've lost probably 6 or 7 inches overall. You can get some looks against it if you're patient now.
Good hands right there, but he was stepping on the sideline. He'll stay with Minnesota.
And Richard Pitino is now 1 minute and 24 seconds away from Elliot Eliason checking back into this ball game. It will be, I think, the TV timeout at the 4-minute mark. That's what he's trying to get to.
Shot clock winding down. King puts it in.
Syracuse ball watched in late clock. If you ball watch, Minnesota very good at slipping behind. And they gave up an easy 2 when they shouldn't have.
You get Andre Hollins with the foul. Team 7th, so it's 1-1.
You see all guys ball watching, and Mai Musakita steps up the floor, and typically that's not a mistake that he makes. He has such a good feel for inside that zone. He should have stayed at home in a late clock. And he doesn't go to the TV timeout.
So Eliason back in with those 4 fouls. Eliason and King on the court with 4 fouls. Ennis, the front end of the 1-1. Ennis has made all 8 free throws that he's tried here today.
Has he had a turnover yet, Tyler Ennis? Maybe 1. For a true freshman against this pressure, no turnovers, making all of his free throws.
Andre Hollins. Yeah, the rebound pulled down by Jeremy Grant. Ennis kicks out Cooney. Cooney's done a good job shooting the basketball here in this one. He's got 5 threes, and inside, King gets hit hard. Ooh, and he's grabbing the side of his face.
That's the same, I'm pretty sure that's the same side of the face that the surgery occurred. He and Austin Hollins had a horrific head-to-head blow against Coastal Carolina. And then he bangs the back of his head against the floor.
Now, I'm sure that's where he feels it. 4 fouls now on Grant.
Richard Pitino said, we need his toughness. You're getting a small sample size of it right there.
Six-point game, under 4.5 to go in this one. Smith from deep again. Guess who with the rebound? And Eliason gets it to King. Hollins cuts to the rim, and he'll shoot 2. They get Christmas. But it started with the offensive rebound from Elliot Eliason for Christmas's 3rd foul.
The board of Eliason, and then the toughness of Joey King to make the pass because he was trapped. They were trapping the breath out of him on the baseline. Watch Elliot Eliason. He boxes off as an offensive rebounder, which not a lot of guys understand. And then Joey King got trapped, and they were suffocating the life out of him, but he was tough enough to find Austin Hollins on a rim cut. It's a good substitution to get Eliason out and not making play defense before the next TV timeout.
Hollins with 9, but his first 2 of the second half. Tyler Ennis, the freshman from Canada, played his high school ball in New Jersey at St. Benedict's. And a reminder to get close to all the action wherever you are. You can do it with the new SportsCenter app. Blazing fast scores, the hottest news and highlights, analysis, access to your favorite SportsCenter talent 24/7 via Twitter. You can download the new SportsCenter app by calling *SC from your phone. My ESPN SportsCenter app just turned into the SportsCenter app. It's awesome. Ennis from deep as the shot clock expired. And Minnesota basketball trailing by 4. Golden Gophers showing a lot of grit, sticking around in this one. Syracuse led by as many as 14 in this game. Face up. Eliason inside, had it blocked. Absorbed a good amount of contact, however. Look at Ennis rolling it to Cooney. And Syracuse with the ball, 3 to go, up by 4.
Minnesota is actually +1 in this ball game in terms of the rebound margin against Syracuse. And they're a small team with the exception of Elliott Eliason. A concern for Syracuse going forward.
Fair into the paint, finds Grant, rejected by Eliason. Hollins at the rim, stripped away, it'll stay with Minnesota. Elliott Eliason just keeps making plays.
He is so good at elevating and not breaking the plane of verticality. He's done it time and time and time again in this ball game.
He's got 5 blocks.
Whatever side Malik Smith is on, it's open to get the ball to the elbow on that side. He has the defense completely stretched out.
And a foul on Tyler Ennis, his 3rd. Team foul number 7, so a 1-and-1 situation here. Cal a winner in our first game of the day. Richard Pitino and the Golden Gophers trying to knock off the number 8 team in the country. They trail by 4, 2:14 to go. The 30th year, the EA Sports Maui Invitational from the Lahaina Civic Center. John Shambi and Jimmy Dykes with you. Still to come, Chaminade, the host team, taking on Baylor. And Gonzaga and Dayton. Sean McDonough and Jay Billis will do those games.
John, coaches have caught on to how the game is being officiated. And in a lot of late close games, if you can't get a shot, Richard Pitino has told his guys, drive that basketball. And put the game in the hands of the officials, how they're calling it. You get your shoulders and your head in front of that defender, it is advantage you if there's any contact at all. And that's what Hollins did on that last possession.
Yeah, it's funny. You think of those rules, and I think we have a tendency to contemplate it only as how the defense is going to utilize it. But offenses are taking it into account for sure. King steps in. Then Ennis gets it back. At the rim. Rejected. Pass up ahead. Too far for King. Nope, not able to save it. As King goes diving into the stands. Coming off of jaw surgery. Missed his last game. That kid plays hard.
If there is a Tough Man Award Wednesday night, this kid's going to be in the running for it.
About 10 minutes ago, during a timeout, he was throwing up into a bucket. Playing with that injured jaw and giving it his all. Here's Fair. Big hoop. C.J. Fair. 16 points for Syracuse leading score.
That's what your potential All-American has to do in that situation. Again, open 15, 16-foot shots. He's going to make as many as anybody in college ball this year.
4-point game. Minnesota knocked, sustained a gash. I mean, that's the type of gash you see when you're watching a boxing match.
Absolutely. Wasn't in love with C.J. Fair's energy level. 2 or 3 games I've watched this season so far on a consistent basis. He has been very energized in this game, though.
King trapped, looking for help, loses the ball. Ennis comes away with it, quickly gets it to Grant. And now Cooney will slow it down. This has been a very game Minnesota team. Syracuse up by as many as 14. Golden Gophers could have gone away. They didn't. They've hung around, and they're within 4 under a minute to go. Fair now. Cooney. Cooney had a great look at it. They got King, though, I believe, for shoving Grant to the ground. Yep, it'll be on King. That's his 5th. He's done.
Richard Pitino told us yesterday his biggest concern in this game, can they get enough defensive rebounds? And they have held their own and more in this game so far, Minnesota. This game is far from over.
Grant, 46% from the line. And he gets the first. Syracuse is 17 for 21 from the line. They came in shooting 62%. And this guy had struggled as much as anyone. 11 for 24 from the line coming into today.
As loose as these rims are, no one should miss free throws in this building.
Gets them both there. Jeremy Grant, the lead is 6. And Grant has 10 points. Smith steps through, loses the ball. Ennis pushing ahead. Bumped by Hollins, who goes down to the ground, and Cooney does as well.
I love defensively what Syracuse did to Malik Smith. They got all over him outside the three-point line and forced him to put the ball on the ground. Something that he's not best at. It's just a hustle play by Andre Hollins behind. Both teams have played extremely hard.
Who put the slip and slide on the baseline?
He's made tough plays. He's been a good passer. He's been a good handler against Minnesota's press.
Possession arrow favoring Syracuse. Nine team fouls on Minnesota, 7 on the arm. And Ennis can't hit the front end. That's big. Hollins from 3. And Fair comes away with the board. Up ahead to Ennis. Grant couldn't, or I beg your pardon, it was Christmas. And then Grant ended up with it and ended up getting fouled. But the lob was to Christmas.
C.J. Fair may have just got a winning rebound for everything that he's done today. And that ball was up in the air, and it was anyone's opportunity to go get it. C.J. Fair went and brought it down and may have secured the win.
They just called flagrant on Otto Oceanics. Grant gets the first. A little surprised, live speed, that didn't occur to me. Gets them both.
He wasn't making a legitimate attempt to play the ball. I think it was way too much excessive contact. What the officials saw. They called in live time. They didn't use the monitor.
Right away.
Cleanly. And
yep. So Syracuse with the ball up 8. And now they got a foul. Minnesota does. They foul Ennis. C.J. Fair, by the way, with the rebound at the defensive end, gave a double-double, 16 and 10 for the lefty from Baltimore.
Tell you what I like about Tyler Ennis. Your true test as a point guard is how you play away from home. And Tyler Ennis in his first game away from the Carrier Dome, still, I don't believe Tyler Ennis has a turnover in this ball game. He's 9 for 10. Correct, Tyler Ennis from the free throw stripe.
Yep.
He has managed this game against a harassing, speed you up, full gas throttle attempt by Minnesota. Tyler Ennis performed very well on the big stage today for Jim Boeheim. Very well.
Really steady.
Absolutely. That's who he is.
Collins knifing in, lays it in. And now Cooney and the Orange. They'll run out the clock. 75